General Nakasone, I want to turn to you first to speak to you about political discrimination in the workforce. First, I'd like to ask you some questions about Naval Officer Lieutenant Commander Michael Ellis, whom you placed on administrative leave on President Biden's Inauguration Day, who subsequently withdrew as NSA General Counsel. The DoD Inspector General released a report on this issue last week. The IG report details that you went to great lengths to oppose the hiring of Ellis. The report reveals that former DoD General Counsel Paul Ney told you in an email that some of your concerns about Ellis, quote, had no basis in fact, unquote, and other concerns, quote, appear to be inappropriately injecting partisan politics, unquote. Will you make these emails public?
Certainly, Ranking Member.
Thank you. We know Democrats in Congress were pressuring you to oppose Ellis's hiring, and they got the DoD Inspector General to open an investigation into it. Did anyone from the Biden administration, either incoming or that Inauguration Day, pressure you to stop Ellis's hiring?
No one pressured me, Ranking Member.
Did you speak to Susan Rice?
I did not speak to Susan Rice.
Did you speak to Jake Sullivan?
I did not speak to the Honorable Jake Sullivan.
In hopes of delaying Ellis's hiring, you asked the U.S. Office of Personnel Management to review the matter, but the OPM told you they don't do that, and the previous NSA General Counsel did not undergo an OPM review. So you demanded a different process for Ellis, but in the end, you didn't have the authority on Ellis's hiring. Mr. Ney had that authority. Is that correct?
Mr. Nye has the authority as the DoD OGC to hire the NSA OGC. That's correct, Ranking Member.
Nevertheless, the IG report found that Mr. Ney, or Nye, had asked Acting Secretary of Defense Miller to direct you to appoint Ellis, and after receiving that direction from Miller, you finally appointed him as General Counsel. Then just 5 days later, on President Biden's Inauguration Day, you placed Lieutenant Commander Ellis on administrative leave. The IG found that one of your justifications for placing Ellis on administrative leave was to wait for the results of the Inspector General investigation of his selection process was improper. Do you accept the IG's finding?
Ranking Member, certainly accept the IG's findings. I think it's important, though, to talk about what the IG findings also stated, which is the fact that Mr. Ellis had two significant security allegations.
I'm glad you're getting there. We're going to get to that. We're coming to that. If you can just let me get through my questions, and I'll give you a opportunity to discuss that. The IG also found that there was no improper political influence by the Trump White House towards Ellis's appointment.
Pentagon boss.
Did you believe at the time that there was
political appointee?
I did not. What my concern was, Ranking Member, at the time was the process upon which I was being advised that the individual
Cyber Command
had to have a merit-based review, and this is what caused a bit of the confusion. But later on, we found out, and the DoD cleared up that there was not a need for a merit-based review.
So you don't dispute the IG's finding on this question?
I do not, Ranking Member.
These allegations of improper political influence on Ellis's hiring came from anonymous sources who told the Washington Post, among other things, that you opposed Lieutenant Commander Ellis's hiring. These anonymous sources had remarkable insight into your thought process. So what happened here was someone close to you planted a fake news story claiming the White House improperly pressured the NSA to hire Lieutenant Commander Ellis. Then, as detailed by the Inspector General, Democrats in Congress cited the story to gin up an IG investigation, and then you cited the investigation to sabotage Lieutenant Commander Ellis's hiring. It's a cute trick. So you were being forced to hire Ellis against your will, and you were improperly trying to delay his hiring by citing an IG investigation. Then just 2 days after Acting Secretary of Defense directs you to hire Ellis, in a miraculous coincidence of timing, your deputy, Mr. Barnes, informs you of 2 allegations that Ellis had mishandled classified information. The first alleged incident involved a State Department official who made the allegation to Mr. Barnes about, or who made the allegation to Mr. Barnes about that supposed incident. Who?
I don't know, Ranking Member. I'm not aware of who made that allegation.
Okay. Then there was a second one. Who made the allegation on the second supposed incident?
Again, Ranking Member, I do not know who made the allegation of it. Again, the allegation came from my deputy director indicating that that there had been reports that there was mishandling of documents, to include the copying of NSA sensitive materials and the distribution of those materials.
So Mr. Barnes would know who these people are.
Correct.
Could you have Mr. Barnes provide us the names of those people who made these serious allegations?
So we'll certainly look into that, Ranking Member.
I'll take that as a yes or a no.
Again, I would like to be able to talk with my counsel to make sure that that is something we can do given the investigation that's taken place or is taking place.
So you're forced to hire Ellis. Your attempts to stop him failed, and it suddenly brought to your attention that allegations were made against Mr. Ellis by two people, and I'll fill you in, both of whom work for you. Yet on January 19th, Ellis shows up for work, and he receives a security clearance. Then the next day, shortly after President Biden is sworn in, you place Ellis on administrative leave. So on January 19th, you're aware of these supposed security incidents, and you approve Lieutenant Commander Ellis's clearance. And then the next day, just after the Biden team is installed, you decide that Ellis is no longer fit to serve. The IG report says you dropped the investigation of Ellis after he withdrew as NSA General Counsel. So you open an investigation based on allegations made by your subordinates. Then you drop the probe so that no one ever finds out if there's any evidence to support them. To sum up, you found various pretexts, including a fake news story planted by someone close to you to get rid of Ellis. You ruined the career of a lieutenant commander, naval officer, for political reasons. You accuse him of mishandling classified information. So hopefully you can get those names to the committee. But I want to talk about mishandling of classified information. I'm going to change the topic. The last open hearing, I asked you if you'd ever recalled an intelligence report by a senior government, if you've ever recalled an intelligence report by a senior government or military official. I'm going to give you an opportunity to clarify your answer from the last hearing. Have you, as director of NSA, recalled a report on a basis that was embarrassing to a senior military leader or government official?
I have not.
Are there any repeat offenders which have had to provide signals intelligence? Are there any repeat offenders or offenses where signals intelligence is embarrassing to a senior military leader? Have you done this since the last hearing?
Ranking Member, I'm not sure I understand the context of your question.
Well, let me try to clarify it for you. You're saying that you have never recalled any intelligence reports that could be embarrassing to senior leaders within the military or the IC or any other government agency?
I directed the recall of reports based upon several reasons. One of them is the distribution of these reports if they're incorrect. Secondly, if the tradecraft is bad and if the tradecraft is brought to my attention that this is not something that should be within our analytic reports, that's certainly something that I have agreed to recall a report.
Did any senior military leaders ask you to recall a report?
Never.
You just did it on your own?
I did it as the director of the National Security Agency as these matters come up and they're brought to my attention. This is not the only report that I've directed a recall on.
Okay, final question here, and I'll yield back my time. Obviously, you're familiar with the Tucker Carlson situation that's been in the news. The NSA Inspector General is reportedly investigating allegations that the NSA swept up Tucker Carlson's communications. Are you and your staff fully cooperating with that investigation?
Certainly, and we've also cooperated with this committee to provide the information that we've known about this and shared all the relevant details.
With that, I yield back, Mr. Chair.